Hello and welcome back or welcome to her work life wellness sessions. I'm so excited to have you here. This past week has been just a whirlwind for me because I was getting started in my first week for my new job. So I was really excited to just ease into it and to learn the routines and to get used to the flow of energy of just easing into the day, starting my morning bright, and then having a really strong and steady day. So it was really all about just like getting used to that flow because I went so long without a consistent schedule. So now I'm just getting used to the flow of things, getting used to the vibes of the job, the expectations, and I meant vibes as in like, the setting, the people, the tonalities, and just all the formalities, like how we're talking to each other and just how I need to be in the space because every job has its vibes. Like, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Where it's like you walk into the place, everybody's overly formal or they're laid back. So, depending on where you work, that can determine the overall setting, energy, environment, and just overall vibes of the space. My job, I really enjoy the vibes because it's very professional, but I love how it's respectful. They respect my time, and I'm able to really bounce it out. And it's a contract role, but it's a very hands on but also flexible role where it's like, yes, you have to show up and do your work, but they won't be too much on your neck about it. You just gotta make sure you do what you have to do, take their feedback, and keep pushing forward. And I really love that kind of job. I love being able to just choose what I need to do because I don't like being told what to do all the time. As you know, I'm a wellness coach. I like to be able to take control and to run my own business. I also have my own studio, so I love that setup. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I've had a great week. Before we jump into today's topic, I do want us to take a deep breath because whatever negativity, whatever energy you're holding on to, you just need to be able to release, relax, and just understand that it's all about just taking a deep breath. So, we're gonna do a breath exercise. I like to just take at least 3 deep breaths in and out. So, let's do that. So, let's take a deep breath in and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And this is just a great way to ground yourself because most of us don't have the time nor the interest to go outside and just ground ourselves in nature all the time. So, how we can do that is by just getting in tune with our breath and just centering ourselves and knowing that we are the center of our own energy. So whatever's going on out there is whatever, okay? You just need to focus on yourself and breathe and center yourself. Center yourself on yourself because without you, there's nothing, okay? So we're going to get into today's topic. Today's topic is going to be how to know when it's time to pivot, level up, or just leave a job. So sometimes it's not about completely quitting a job. Sometimes about getting a raise, getting a more elevated role or higher role in your company before just leaving. So it's not about just up and leaving. That's not what this episode is about. It's not about quitting and just throwing in the towel and just leaving everything behind because at the end of the day, we all have our careers and we are on our own journeys towards success, towards career fulfillment, and just feeling happy in ourselves and in our careers. So it's not about just dumping that job that you hate. Like, you really need to be able to work through it, get to know yourself, and to level up or just leave that job. So let's get into it. Let's check our energy before we jump into that topic. If you love that topic, make sure that you put your excitement below. Let me know what you're thinking about that topic. What kind of thoughts does that bring up? And just check in with yourself. Let's check in with our energy on a scale of 1 to 10. I always like to do this every episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your energy level? My energy level is about like, it's between like a 5 and a 6. I feel pretty good, but also like I've been really drained. I've been trying a new high protein and low sugar diet. So it's been about just really refining what I eat, and I'm getting used to it, okay? Like the sugar had me in a chokehold, okay? I didn't have a lot of sugar, but every now and then I would like, have those little sugar spikes, whether that's from peanut butter. Peanut butter has a little bit of sugar. It's protein, but it still has like that sugar rush where it tastes really sweet and like very satisfying. And I liked really adding a lot of honey to my teas, and just that spike of sugar is something that I really depended on. I also really loved, like, even though I have like my energy fizz that I like to drink as a coffee alternative, I still would go to lattes, and I would still love to enjoy, a nice sweet hot drink. So that was something that I was holding on to. So now I'm just kind of leveling out a little bit and getting used to this new vibe, this new routine of just eating high protein, low carbs. And my body is getting used to it. And I've been working out and just staying to that routine. And I'm making sure to journal and to note like how I'm feeling each and every day, because not only am I changing my diet, I'm also on a medication that's helping me with my migraines. Like, as I've mentioned in other episodes, it's a medication so that I have less migraines and feel just more relaxed, and it kind of lowers my blood pressure a little bit. So it's so important to just like, if you're on medication or if you're trying a new diet, it's so important to just journal and to note like what's going on with that and how you're feeling day to day. So if that's you, make sure that you're taking note of it, because if you're not feeling good, you want to know, why am I not feeling good? Do I need to hydrate more, or do I need to up my protein a little bit more, or up my calories because I'm feeling a little bit hungry? That's always a question to ask, because I know for me, like, it's been a struggle. So let's get into it, okay? Make sure you drop down your energy level checks on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your energy level? I would love to know. And I just want to know what kind of energy we're jumping into with this session. So let's get into today's topic. I'm so excited because I obviously, like, as I said, I'm in a career pivot. I am changing my career. I'm excited about the career, and it's fun, it's fresh, and I just love where I'm at. Like, it's just exciting to jump into a new career because it's just a new wave, it's a new just vibe, and I just love being able to step into a new place, getting to know who I'm going to be working with, the flow of things, and seeing like, is this something that I can do long term? And do I have obviously I have the qualifications, but do I know exactly what I need to do day to day? And I just love being able to just be good at what I'm doing, because if I'm not doing my job, then I get anxious. I feel like I'm going to be replaced, or I feel like I'm just not going to continue with the project if I'm not enjoying it, or, I feel like something bad is going to happen. So doing a career pivot, like, let's be honest, doing a career pivot is challenging. It's not fun. Like, sometimes we feel like, am I going to get fired because I don't know what the heck I'm doing? This is a new job. It's more elevated. Like, somebody help me because I don't know what I'm doing. So please, I need help. I need all the assistance I can get. So if you're in a career pivot, just know that you're not alone. Like, I know exactly what it's like to change careers. I've changed careers so many times. But I love where I'm at now. And I feel like I'm just at a point where I obviously don't want to, I don't want this job to end like anytime soon, and I don't want this contract to end anytime soon, but you never know what's going to happen in that field. But obviously, as a contract worker, I always have to be on to the next thing. Like, of course, I need to rest and know like this is my season right now, but I always have to have like something, not anything super lined up right away, but keep in mind that, this is a contract role, so you never really know with these, like, you never really know how long it's going to end, and it's a kind of a undefined role as far as like how long it's going to last. So you just never know unless you're someone who has a full-time job. Like if you are somebody who has a full-time like corporate role or a salary role where you are full-time and you're working that job, that's another story. But whether you're in a contract role or you're in a full-time role or even a part-time role, all of these different job titles and these different responsibilities that we have can impact how we are in our career. Because if you're not happy with your career and you feel like you're kind of just stuck and you're outgrowing a job, then you need to pay attention to that. But it all starts with knowing, like, when I started this job, did I put my best foot forward? And am I getting that same return from that job? That's a really important thing to ask, because if you are pouring into a job and you feel like you're not really getting much in return, you need to really go back to your values, go back to why you started that job, and to see what you need to do in order to get back on track. Because let's get into the signs of if you are feeling stuck in that job, or you're feeling like you are outgrowing that job. You feel like you're just not, it's just not an equal give and take. And part of that could be you're starting to feel like feel like maybe you feel like the job is being very ungrateful for you. You're doing so much, you're helping people, you're doing everything that they are telling you to do, but they're not paying you enough. They're not giving you the satisfaction to know that you're on the right track, and they're kind of just leaving you in the dark. That can kind of be a sign that they're not really appreciating your work, and it's time to look for opportunities that really fulfill you, that make you feel good in doing the work that you're doing. And a lot of that has to do with the environment that you're in. Sometimes you'll start a job and it's so exciting and they're making you feel like you're the best employee, that you started that job and everything seems so clean, so laid out. But over time, it starts to feel kind of less lively. You don't feel like that same excitement, and you feel like every day is kind of looking the same. It's not really making you feel fulfilled or just happy in what you're doing. I've been through that a lot. When I first graduated college, I started working at a furniture store. I was there not very long, but right away I knew that it wasn't for me, because my coworkers weren't training me. They were the ones that were supposed to train me. Like, I got hired by the manager, but the manager wasn't there on a day-to-day basis. So the employees that I worked with only one person a day, but regardless of who I worked with, one was kind of just like overly training me, and the other person was kind of just sitting down. They would like sit in the corner somewhere and just crack open a bag of chips and just start smacking on their chips and just kind of in their own world. Like, it was a very slow, like, trust me, like, if you ever went into a furniture store, you worked at a furniture store, it's plenty of dead time. Like, this kind of stuff, it sounds crazy, but this kind of stuff happens. So like, the guy that I was working with, he didn't really like care about training me. Like, during, like, it wouldn't even be lunchtime and he would be cracking open a bag of chips and just be in the corner. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like there's no training. Like, what is going on? Like, I barely know how to, like, obviously I'm qualified. I have a design background. I'm good at helping people pick furniture. I know quite a bit about furniture, but every furniture store has their quirks. They have their protocols. They have a certain way they want to serve their customers, and they have frequently asked questions from their customers. So you have to be able to know these things. And so when I was in that situation and I wasn't able to get the help that I needed, I started to really feel irritated, and I felt like this is a waste of time. Like, why am I here and you're not helping me? Like, it's almost like you're setting me up for failure. If I'm working somewhere and I'm new, I just graduated from college, I expect to have the proper orientation to this new career, even if it's not a professional or fancy career. You still need that orientation. Like, give me a tour of the place so I can know where everything is, so I can know what's going on when I'm walking the customers around. Like, hello, like, I'm an employee here, so I need to be prepared to succeed in this role. But in that case, I wasn't getting the training I needed. And for the other person I worked with, she was just like overly training me and just being overly nitpicky. And she would just go into really finite detail about very unnecessary information that I never really used. But she would ignore the super important things. And she would just be like, we're not going to worry about that today. We'll do that, when the time comes, okay? And then it never got to the point where we focused. Like, for example, we never went through how to do the sale. So the company that I worked at, they did things very old school. So it wasn't like today's modern point of purchase system where you just swipe your card and you just put in your bank details and they just like scan the furniture that you're buying or just look it up in the system. No, we had to hand calculate the tax, hand calculate the sale price of each and every individual product in that store. So we didn't have the luxury of just having all the sale information at our disposal. We had to calculate that. So I had to spend a lot of time calculating. I had to spend a lot of time just knowing their routine. But by the time I learned it, I was tired because half of the time I was teaching myself. I was teaching myself how to do the job. And while I was proud of myself for teaching myself, and obviously, like, they offered me little nuggets here and there, I was just like, this is not something I'm going to be doing at another job. Like, this way of working is so outdated. And knowing me, I have my background in industrial design. So this outdated everything by hand, calculations by hand, just did not align with what I wanted to do as an industrial designer and as a modern day designer. Like, I just felt like, why are we wasting so much time? Like, just hand calculating. We could literally, like, and I don't mean to say literally, but we could like spend time doing the creative work. We could help people visualize these pieces of furniture in their home. And we could just be a little bit more advanced with this. There's so many companies that have the new AI augmentative reality where you can like, see the piece of furniture like in first person, but it's like through their AI, like you're looking at it in the phone, but you're seeing the room have the piece of furniture in it. So you could see how the piece of furniture can fit in the room, right? Like, these are things that I was thinking about. And I'm like, I think that this kind of stuff is okay. Obviously, this stuff is not going to happen here. This kind of stuff is like kind of too advanced for this place. They clearly have a pride in doing things the old-fashioned way, which I understand is very, old-fashioned furniture, hardwood furniture and they have like a very older audience. But there was families that came in and there was people that came in that they were in a rush and they didn't have time to have everything hand calculated. So all in all, in that situation, I just felt like that whole role just wasn't in alignment with the direction that I wanted to go into. I wanted to go more into tech and modern design. And I just felt like by the time I learned all the handiwork and all the hands on work of this job, I was just already done. I was already tired of the people I was working with. I was tired of the protocols. I was tired of the process of day to day work. And I was already looking for my next role, like maybe even 2 months in. But I probably left about like 3, 4 months in. So it was not a hard, no, it wasn't hard to figure out that I was outgrowing that role. And it was because I felt like I had such great ideas, but they weren't in alignment with the company. The company wasn't going to do it, and they're stuck in their ways. So I knew that it wasn't for me. And the worst thing of it all was just the training, like just not having a training at all. Like, I just don't like, I don't know about you, but I hate working with lazy people. I hate working with people that I don't even look up to. Like, how am I going to listen to you if I'm not even inspired by you? I don't even look up to you because you're lazy. You don't have the work qualities that I want. And I just feel like, why am I working under people that I feel like I'm smarter than? And I don't mean to sound cocky, but it's like, come on, like we can do things a lot better here. Like, I just felt like that kind of place just wasn't for me. And like, I personally I would never like ignore a new hire and just go off to the side and just eat snacks all day. I just would never. So I just knew that job wasn't for me. I felt like I was being disrespected. I felt like I was just a fly on the wall in that space. And I just felt like they didn't respect my time. And as a young professional, they didn't really respect that I was looking for a real career and I was learning to gain real skills. They didn't take me seriously. And I don't know if it's because I had a college background and they were just like, college doesn't mean anything, that's not useful here. Yeah, you just go sit over there and, just you're getting paid, so just relax, none of that matters. But I just feel like, no, that's just not for me. That's just not for me. So, when it's time to leave a job, when you're just being neglected, they don't care about your ideas, and you just feel like your career is literally not moving and it's not being respected. So, in that kind of situation, it wasn't just a temporary burnout. And me doing meditations and me having a spiritual awakening was not going to save me from that horrible job. It wasn't going to save me from the lazy people that I worked with. It wasn't going to save me from the horrible protocols, the inconsideration of that job. It just wasn't going to work. And in that kind of situation, you have to be able to realize that there's certain aspects of a job that you're just not going to be able to change. And you won't really have control over how somebody runs their company. And I was wise enough to understand that. Like, I brought up, maybe an idea once about incorporating technology to make it better, but obviously it got turned down. But I wasn't gonna try to change a company that was already successful, I guess, in its own right. So I'm just gonna leave. That's what I did. And if that's you, you need to realize that sometimes it's not just about leaving a company because you feel burnt out, but it's about understanding when to leave a company because it just doesn't align with you. And it's not about, oh, I need to go meditate or do anything like that. You just need to understand that if you stay there, your career is not going to go anywhere, honey. It's just not. So in that situation, you need to be able to identify, what is your next chapter? What next step are you going to take so that you can start to feel more fulfilled in your career? So that you can start imagining a life where you feel like you can grow in your career and you'll feel like you'll be somewhere where you just belong and your ideas matter, your training matters, and people actually want you to learn and to develop as a professional, whether you're just getting started or you have a great backlog of projects and roles that you've worked and have been successful in, you deserve respect in your career search, and you deserve a chance at elevation in your career. So you should never feel like you have to stay somewhere if you're not going to grow. So what you need to do is to obviously use the job searching websites to look for different roles. But sometimes Google will be your friend or your network will be your friend, because honestly, LinkedIn has been a headache for me. Like, I've applied to thousands of jobs, but the best thing that you can do is to talk to people. Like, what kind of jobs are people working in your network? And sometimes, like, maybe they won't directly point you to an open role, but they'll kind of give you an idea of what can work for you, because that has helped me a ton in this past year, through just talking to people or talking with my fiance. He's been talking to his coworkers about like what kind of side gigs they've been working on to just get by and to make a little bit of extra money. That can also help, is to just kind of tell people what you're looking for so that they can kind of ask around and keep an eye out for what could be a great opportunity for you to hop on. And I've noticed that that has helped me a lot more than just applying to hundreds of jobs a day and just kind of sending my resume into the abyss, essentially. So if you feel like you've had no luck applying to jobs, like you really don't like your job and you're trying to find some new roles, maybe you just need to be more open and use that as an opportunity to take advantage of your network, maybe reconnect with people that you haven't spoke to in a while on LinkedIn. Or if you don't have LinkedIn, just reach out to your network in any way you can. Maybe send out some emails to reconnect with your professors if you have a college degree or you have any university connections. That can also be really helpful to just kind of conversate and to begin that conversation. But obviously, it's so much easier to find a role when you already have a job. So I don't recommend quitting a job until you have something lined up. And although that can be really challenging in cases of toxic work environment, I don't recommend leaving a job until, you have something lined up, unless obviously it's super toxic for your mental health and you can afford to do that. So that's the best case scenario for you. But honestly, I still don't have it figured out. Like, the job search is just a mess. We all know this. But honestly, what I've heard the most success from is from just people reaching out to their personal network and just staying open, making sure that your DMs are open. Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, a couple of months ago, I sent a role that maybe I didn't want. I sent it to somebody and, like, they didn't even see my message until, like, months later. But by then it was too late. But it's like, that's why it's like you always want to make sure, like, your DMs are open and that you're open, because you might miss a message from somebody that's really important that could really change your life, essentially. So make sure you're checking your messages on LinkedIn if you have that. Maybe your Instagram messages if people are using that, or you have like a professional network on there. And also your email. Like, you never really know, like, maybe someone might send you something, and it can be a great opportunity for you. So, and also obviously like your text messages, and just stay open, because if somebody's trying to talk to you, it might be a reason for that. So don't ignore nobody like that's actually trying to talk to you, because they could actually help you, and you don't want to burn any bridges from people that could really help you. So in that, once you do find that opportunity, although it can take, 1 month up to like a year, and for some of us, a year plus, okay? Because it can be challenging to find a job. But once you find that, you need to be able to create a transition strategy to leave your current job and to ease into your new job. And while it is easier to ease into a job when you already have a job, that is the case because when you have a job, you're already having that routine. You're used to getting up early. You're used to that energy expenditure when you're already kind of just having that energy and you're exerting energy towards that level of work. it can be completely different from just the overall job search or doing any loose end work that you have on the side. Because when you're really locked in with a job, you're locked in with gaining the skills and communicating properly with your team. And it's all about just having that daily flow of energy. So it can be really challenging to go from working maybe no hours to working 8 hours a day. So I highly recommend just at least filling your time with side projects or just little like hands-on work that you can do to kind of prepare yourself and to keep your skills sharp and to keep your mind sharp for when you are going into your new role or your new opportunity, because once you start, it can really take off fast. So you need to be able to make sure you stay ready so you don't have to get ready, essentially. So, if I were to give any advice to someone who's trying to have a really healthy transition, you just need to make sure that you're staying energized on a daily basis. Having that balance between work and life is so important, because when you're all work and no play, that can be horrible. But if you're all play and no work, that can be horrible if you are somebody who's going back into work, because it's going to be challenging to go from, just hanging out at home all day to picking up those 8-hour shifts and working for long hours. So I definitely want to warn you, if you are in a season where you're kind of, you're not working, maybe you should like pick up some projects and just keep yourself a little bit busy, because it can feel very overwhelming when you're going from, a very low energy state to a very high energy state, and that can create a huge like stress jump. So it's important to kind of just create like a healthy baseline, because you don't want to spike your stress too high and like just have that anxiety, have that stress of like, oh no, like, am I gonna keep this job? Like, I just don't want to lose this job because it took forever to find this job. So you just want to be able to have that balance, because it's gonna really help you just be able to keep up with that role and to feel positive about that role. Because like, trust me, I know this, like, you could start a job that's like your dream job. Maybe it's a great paying job, or it's a work from home job you really love, but you just feel so burnt out about it because you've gone so long either in a role that didn't require that much energy to work in a very high energy level job, or you went from having no job to having a very stressful job. So you just got to keep that balance. Like, just know, like, if you're cruising a little bit too much, you might need to apply a little bit more pressure, because when it's time, it's going to be time. So you need to be able to go from where you are now to jump into that role. So ease yourself into it, pick up some side projects, whether that's, if you're a designer like me, maybe you're doing some passion projects, or maybe you're just somebody who's a lawyer, or you're more of in the what they call like the liberal arts scene, where it's more like literature, you're reading and educating yourself, or maybe you're studying any case studies and just like really energizing your brain and just absorbing more knowledge that you can get ready to apply that knowledge when the time comes. Because you don't want to pour from an empty cup. You're going to have to eventually refill that cup, and it's going to be overwhelming to do that. So keep yourself filled with the knowledge, keep yourself filled with good energy, positive vibes. Just consume very positive videos, content, books, and just stay encouraged, because whether that season comes now when it's time to transition into your dream or high opportunity role, you want to be able to be ready for that and be in a stage where you are educating yourself, you're filling yourself up, you're doing your self-care, and so you can just easily just get into that role and be like, okay, this is a little bit more stressful, but I'm eating healthy, I'm working out, I've been reading, I've been doing some projects on the side, and just staying busy and just working that same muscle in my brain that matches this role. So that muscle is very strong, it's pretty active, and it's ready to go. So it's conditioned. So once I'm ready for this role, I can just get into it and be successful. So we all want to get into a role and just know that that role is for us, and we did the level up work so that we can be there. We're educated, we take care of ourselves, and when you do that, there's nothing that can stand against you. There's nothing that can stand in your way because you prepared yourself for that moment. You're educated, you're knowledgeable, and it's time to take on that role because this is what you asked for, and this is what a career transition and a career level up looks like. So if that's you, I'm so excited for you. I'm with you. I'm leveling up in my career as well. And while I have been doing like small little projects, I feel like I'm still kind of easing into my new role, and I'm focusing on my self-care at this time, as I always do, but heavily focused on that. I'm doing as much meditations as I can, journaling, and being in tune with myself at this time, because when you're jumping into a new role, it's all about just staying in alignment with the career that you want, knowing that this is what you want, this is what you signed up for, and just going with that, following your own path. Don't compare yourself to anybody else's path, and know that you are prepared perfectly for this role, and this role would not be presented to you if it wasn't for you. Okay, so we're gonna ride with that. We're gonna receive that and know that this career is meant for us. This career transition is going to go smoothly, and now it's the perfect time for it because we've been preparing for it. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to jump into today's activity. I do have a career alignment scorecard that I want us to get on into. But in the chat, I want you to let me know, how is this message being received so far? How do you feel about it? Do you have any questions that I could answer in the next session? Let me know. I'm so excited for you at whatever stage of this process you're in. So let me know below. And I'm excited to answer any questions and to hear your comments below. So for this activity, we're going to be doing a career alignment scorecard. We're going to break down the current career into several different aspects. So the first one is going to be income. So income, we're going to rate from 1 to 10 for each aspect. For example, maybe your job has a very high income. You're going to rate that a 10, or anywhere in between, obviously like higher than a 5 if you're very satisfied with that job income. And then we're going to go over growth. Growth is an area that we're going to rate 1 to 10 as well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, for example, maybe your job is high paying and you have a lot of different growth opportunities. So that's going to be a 10, for example. Lifestyle, maybe your job doesn't have a great lifestyle and you find yourself working on the weekends, or you don't have enough time for your friends and family. So you feel like it's a lot of work and no play in this job. So you're going to give that a 1. And then purpose, for example, you might say like maybe the job just doesn't align with your purpose, like it's totally against your values. So you might rate that a 1 because maybe they take a lot of pride in hard work, but they don't care about mental health at that job. Like everybody's so mean and they just want you to work at that job. And then lastly, we're gonna rate the energy impact of that role. Is that role burning you out? In that case, you would rate that a 1. Or does that role make you feel energized and it just kind of boosts your energy when you show up to work? Rate that a 10. And what I want you to do is to put your ratings below. I'm really curious what yours are. Comments, let me know. We're going to rank in these various aspects. Number 1 being income. 2 is growth, 3 is lifestyle, 4 is purpose, and 5 is energy impact. So rate all of those aspects of your current role below. And if you don't have a current role, maybe it'll be your past role. For example, you would rate that and just let us know what those ratings are for you and how are you feeling about your current role or your past role that you were in, so that you can either reflect on it, on your past role, or reflect on your current role, because it's hard to reflect on something you haven't experienced yet. So you want to reflect on something that you have experienced and that you can reflect on. And after you do those ratings, I want you to ask yourself, based on your score for those aspects, would you stay at that role, or would you have stayed at that role that you used to work at? Let us know down below, or just maybe write that down in your journal. This is also great. Like, these exercises are really great also for your journal. So let us know, like, how you would rate those, and would you have stayed at that role? That is something that will really help you be able to understand, like, is this something that I would have wanted to do? Like, if I really thought about it, like, would I stay at this role, or should I start thinking about my transition strategy on what I need to do to prepare for my next role? This strategy and this exercise is going to really help you understand, do you need to stay at your career and just work on your burnout? Maybe you need to elevate your energy, regulate your energy, and just try to break through that stagnation? Or do you feel like the career itself and the role itself is just keeping you stuck? And are you just unhappy with that role in general? And is it time to leave that role? Because sometimes it might just be an energy problem, but if you feel like it's a purpose problem, or it's an environment problem, or just any issue that you just can't really control yourself, that you might just have to leave that role and work on a transition plan. So it's all about identifying where you are now and identify the next chapter and what that might look like, and staying at the career, elevating your energy, and working on the impact that job has on you energy wise, or just thinking about the next chapter on how you might have a job that's more purposeful, impactful, and just makes you feel overall more energized and just more fulfilled in that career. So let me know down below, comment what your ratings are, and I'm excited to hear those again. Once again, those aspects are income, growth, lifestyle, purpose, and energy impact. So I'm excited to hear your answers, and let's talk about it. So with that being said, I do want to talk about one way that you can work on your energy at your current role, or work on your energy for preparing for your next role, is the elevated energy reset program that I have. This is a great program for just making you feel good, obviously in your wellness, but also just mentally preparing you for that next role. It's a great way to just feel more energized and be introduced to more clean energy that you can introduce into your busy life schedule. And it includes a lot of different products such as protein shakes, and these kind of shakes will help you replace any meals that you might have missed during your day, and it just keeps you on track with your goals, whether you're trying to build your muscle, lose weight, or maintain weight. It just helps you feel more nourished and fulfilled. There's also some coffee replacements. They're called Energy Fizz flavors. So there's different flavors that you can put in some water to replace your coffee. It's a great natural source of protein. And these are just different products that you are going to see, but there's a lot of different options that you can find there. If you're interested in that, you also get access to a group chat where each and every day you will receive a prompt to be able to reflect on your day, reflect on a specific aspect of your life. And it's going to group you with other women who are also on that same journey as you. So if you're somebody who just wants that community and you just want an all-in-one program that helps you with your wellness and also your mindset. That's a great program to elevate your energy and to just reset, feel good, and to know that you're in the right place, or just energize you for what's next on your journey. So if that's you, make sure to click down below to learn more about the Elevated Energy Reset. So with that being said, I do want to send you off with some words of affirmation. I love to just motivate you and to send you out on your day so that you can feel energized, happy, and just fulfilled in yourself. In this current moment, I want you to know that whatever happened last week, but this is your week to choose how you're going to elevate your life. You get to choose the person that you are. Nobody from your past can stop you from your glow up, and you have all the tools that you need to be able to elevate, stay in the same place, or go back to the past. But hopefully, we are all in a place where we're ready to keep moving forward. And I'm excited to see what's next for you. I do want us to think about what was one win from this past week. I usually ask at the beginning, but this time I'm going to close it out with that. What was one win from last week? And what was something that really aligned with you this past week? I know for me, I was just really excited to just, again, like I said, to start this new career. It really meant a lot for me to do that. That was such a huge, huge win for me. And I feel so in alignment with my workout routine. I love the workouts that I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of resistance training because I hit a really bad plateau with my weight loss. And I feel like I'm in a great place. I'm so excited to just be able to be on this journey to break through that plateau. I finally see the scale breaking through and seeing it kind of just go in my favor. And I'm just so excited. I feel very just at peace. I feel like I'm finally on track with my goals. I have been on track, but I feel like I'm really laser focused and nothing can stop me now. So I'm so in alignment with what I want for my life, wellness, career, everything. I absolutely love it. And I'm just so happy with my life. I'm happy with my relationship and my wedding in a few months. I'm just at peace. Nothing could bother me. I'm honestly just happy with where I'm at, and nothing can knock me off my square. So that's me, but I want to know what is one win for you and what was in alignment with you this past week. Put that down below. I'm so excited to read that and so excited for you to be here. I'm so excited for you to be a part of this community. I love this community and I love showing up for this community and keep pushing forward for this community and just showing what it's truly like on this journey, because the journey of wellness and work-life balance is not an easy journey at all. So if you're somebody on that journey, you know that. Just know that I'm here for you. I also offer one-on-one coaching if you need more personalized one-on-one support. You can apply below as well. And I'm so excited for you to be here. Once again, this is Her Work-Life Wellness Sessions, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.